said I wasn't going to do a book haul again anytime soon, and it has been a couple months. And because it's been a couple months, the stack is large, and there's reasons for this. I feel like I need to justify this, which I don't. I don't need to justify my book hoard, but I have been going to a significant amount of bookish events lately. I have a really great local book community that hosts a lot of book events, and therefore those have brought books into my life in various ways. So all of these books, there are 40 of them. I know, I'm so sorry. That's a lot. It's a lot of books we're going to talk about during this book haul. A lot of them came from events such as Indie Bookstore Day. I did a book crawl for Indie Bookstore Day. Book exchanges, which have been a very fun thing that I've gone to, I think 5 or 6 in the first half of the year, where you take books and you get to exchange them for new books. And therefore those books are free. So obviously, who leaves free books when they are bookish people? And used book sales as well, plus obviously pre-orders and just, continuing series and the occasional week moment in Indigo. So since there are 40 books in this book haul, I will be not doing full synopses of these books because we would be here until the end of time, but I will give you the reasons I bought them or the reasons I picked them up in the book haul. Just a couple of little tidbits, maybe tropes if I know them, general ideas of what the books are. I'll give you 1 to 2 sentences on each one, unless I go off on a tangent and say more. Let's dive into all the books that I've gotten in the book exchanges. Since I've already talked about going to those, let's start with that stack first. I have more stacks over there, so if I kind of slightly move during this, it's because I'm getting books and bringing them over because they don't all fit on my desk. Anyway, these ones I've all gotten for free in various book exchanges, not all in the same event. Multiple. I have been to a few since the last time I chatted with you. This one I actually just picked up on the weekend when I was at a book exchange over the weekend. And when this hit the table, to say I immediately grabbed it with my clutches is an understatement because I love Olivia Blake. I actually just finished reading Olivia Blake's brand new book and loved it. 5 stars. And I've been wanting to dive more into Olivia Blake's backlist. This was one that I did not have Alone with You in the ether, so now I do. I know this is kind of a literary romance. I would not call this necessarily a good romance necessarily. It's not your ideal. I think there's quite a lot of drama and a lot of things going on under the surface. But really, I come to Olivia Blake for the writing style and how she writes characters. She does a fantastic job with character work, and I'm interested to see a take like this. This is probably the shortest Olivia Blake I have ever read. I'm pretty sure it is. It's pretty tiny for an Olivia Blake. Yeah, it's under 300 pages. So that's going to be pretty fast. It's set in Chicago. 2 people meet in an art institute, and I think it's drama and love and complexity. Since I was just talking about a book from a book exchange I went to yesterday, I got other books yesterday. So maybe we'll start with the haul I got yesterday and then work backwards to other book exchanges that I went to. I also got The Hookup by Kristen Callahan. This is a football romance, as instanced by the front, and that is all that I know. I love a sports romance, and I was running low on contemporary romances on my shelves that I have not read. I do have some. But most of my TBR, not all of it, I do have some romances that I haven't gotten to yet, but my TBR is significantly thrillers because I've been buying thrillers and not reading them because I'm not in my thriller era, and also fantasy because fantasy takes longer to read. Romances, I can read them really fast, and therefore they don't tend to sit on my shelves as long, and I really did need to restock my romance TBR. Not that I was out, but it is the lowest kind of genre that I have TBR wise. So a football romance for free, instant pickup. In the same vein and by the same person who brought this one, I got Cross the Line by Simone Sultani. And this is an F1 romance. I have never read a Formula One romance. I have never watched Formula One. I know it's very popular. It's not something I know anything about, but I'm interested in a sports romance of this kind too. I don't really watch football that much either, so it's not like watching the sports is necessary to liking the romance. When the Guncle hit the table yesterday by Stephen Rowley, I immediately also snatched this one up. This is a book that's been on my TBR for a very long time. I've heard fantastic things about it, and it follows a Guncle, a gay uncle. What more could you want? Like, I feel like this is going to be a fabulous, fun, fabulous book, and I've heard amazing things about this one. Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong is another book that I've had my sights on for quite some time, and I could not leave it there for free. Like, it had to come home with me. It was meant for me. And this is a fantasy that's inspired by Cleopatra and Antony. So in my mind, that makes it a retelling of sorts, and you know I love a retelling. So throwing this on the TBR is very exciting. Now it'll be in my line of sight, because sometimes I find if I don't have a book and it's on like my TBR list, I will slightly forget about it. I kind of need it in my line of sight to remember that the book exists. That's probably not a good thing, but it is what it is. Permanency, object permanency, like I need it in my sights. The last book I got yesterday was The Rage of Dragons. I love a dragon book. This is an epic fantasy that obviously follows dragons. I do love an epic fantasy. I've been really reading a lot of epic fantasy lately and enjoying it. I don't know if this is going to be the type of fantasy I love, but I suspect that it might. So snatched it up for this really great hardcover edition. I still have some other books that I did get at exchanges, but not the one that I went to yesterday. Yesterday was quite a good haul, honestly, that I got all those in one event. But I also got Into the Woods by Jenny Holiday. This is, I believe, a Canadian author. I'm almost positive that this is a Canadian author. Yes, Ontario, Canada. I thought so. So Into the Woods is a summer romance that follows two people who come to this camp as camp counselors. One is a dance instructor and one is like a rock star. I don't know why a rock star would be coming to this camp. I'm sure there's reasons. I'm sure there's reasons he's come here. The band has broken up. That's why. That's why he's there. He's grumpy and she's cynical. And it's an enemies to lovers romance. Sounds great. Perfect going into the summer. I will probably try to prioritize this over the summer. The Royals Next Door by Karina Halley follows a school teacher, I think, elementary school teacher by day, romance reader by night, and she does podcasts by night as well. And she's living in her house, reading her books, filming her podcast when the Royals rent the house next door. And there's a bodyguard that thinks she might be suspicious, starts watching out for her, and the romance is between her and the bodyguard. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I don't know if I'm going to love this. I don't know if this screams Brittany book. I know Kelsey gave this 5 stars and really, really enjoyed it. And since it was free, I thought, you know what? Let's give one of my best friend's favorite books a chance. So here it is. I own the first one. We're going to give it a try. See if it is a Brittany book. I don't know that it is, but we're going to try. I do think it's a romance, but I feel like there might be a lot of other things going on in this book, like outside the romance. Honestly, I don't really even know. And honestly, the back tells me almost nothing. There's a lot of descriptions about this small town and this man named Archer, but like what happens and how these two people find each other, the back doesn't tell me. So I'm going to kind of go into this almost blind, other than the fact that like Kelsey really liked it. This book is one of the books that I had never heard of when I saw it at the book swap. But when I read the synopsis, there was a couple of key things about this that really got my attention. This is Don't Breathe a Word by Jordan Taylor. This book is dark academia, so that is definitely one of the ones that's set in a school. There's secret societies. Those things really caught my interest. So in this, we follow Ava, and she joins Harwork Preparatory Academy, joins a society called the Fives, and starts to find out that there might be some secrets that date back to 1962, when Harwick was testing as a nuclear fallout shelter. What in the world could be going on? I was intrigued enough to find out. Wayward by Amelia Hart has been on my radar for quite some time. It's witchy. I do love a witchy book, especially a historical witchy book like this. I don't typically read historical, but this type of witchy fantasy around like historical witches and how feminism has even slightly stemmed from the history of women being outside the status norms and being vilified as witches and killed as witches. I find that extremely interesting, and I've heard great things about this book. And I actually recently saw someone on TikTok raving about it as well. So I am excited to have this on my physical TBR. Now, the last book I got at the book swaps, and then we're going to get into some of the books that I purchased either new or used, was Gilded by Marissa Meyer. This is a retelling. That's why. It's a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. I really do like Marissa Meyer. I need to finish the Lunar Chronicles. I should be shamed that I haven't finished the Lunar Chronicles. I don't really have an excuse. I haven't done it, but now I can read Gilded, which I believe is a standalone. Now, even though I said I don't have to justify 40 books, I feel the need to still justify. The next stack is all used books. So I got them for really, really good prices, either from used bookstores or, again, my local book community doing used book sales. I am so, so blessed by my local community. The first couple are from a used book sale I went to probably a couple months ago now, maybe beginning of April, end of March. The first one being Lost in the Neverwoods by Aiden Thomas. When I saw this, I actually reached over as someone was looking around it at other things and plucked it up and was like, mine. This is mine. This is on my buzzword for 2025 for, I don't remember why. Anyway, it's on my buzzword somewhere, maybe on screen. I'll put what it's on there for. It's a queer Peter Pan retelling, and this will be my first Aiden Thomas, which is insane because I've heard fantastic things about all of Aiden Thomas's books, but it does make sense that I would start with the retelling. I think that is the perfect place for me personally to start. Also, at this local book sale, these books were $3 for a paperback, $5 for a hardback. Thank you. I have no excuse for these next two other than they were $3. Can I just make that an excuse? I know I'm trying to get rid of the thrillers on my shelves. Why did I buy two more? I have no excuses. No excuses. But I have Darling Girls by Sally Hempworth. This follows three foster sisters who were in a foster home that was not ideal. And now as adults, they are away. They have broken free. But now a body has been found under their old foster care house. And it draws them back in to find out who was under the house. Again, I know I'm not reading a lot of thrillers, but I do think it's a little bit of a crime that I haven't read No Exit by Taylor Adams yet. This book I was supposed to read. I actually had an old series on my channel 2 years ago now that was called Read a Book in 8 Hours. And we do 8 hours of sprints and read an entire book together. This was supposed to be one of those. The day of those sprints, I ended up in the hospital having to have emergency surgery. I am fine, but I had to cancel it. And I've just never gone back to wanting to read this, and I didn't own it. And I feel like this is one of those thrillers that everybody talks about, and I need to know why. The next 6 to 7 books were all bought on Indie Bookstore Day at my bookstore crawl. I went to a lot of used bookstores and ended up getting quite the haul. So if you've seen that video, you've seen these next few books. And if you haven't, it's a fun video. I went to 9 bookstores in one day. It was a really fun time, and I'm still going to give you a little, they're hauled. We're going to talk about them really quickly, but I do know that you've seen these from that video. So yeah, here we go. The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert, Magical Woods. That's the excuse of this. It's a magical woods, and it's also fairy tale in its vibe. It's not a fairy tale in and of itself. It's not a retelling, but it's fairy tale in its vibes and a magical woods. I need no other information to pick up a book. It's been on my radar for a while. I keep saying that because a lot of these books are books that I have been wanting for a while. They weren't just random pickup books. There are some of those, but a lot of these are books that I had my eye on. Do think I will really enjoy it, and I think I will really appreciate them. T. Kingfisher's newest release, The Sorceress Comes to Call. This is also a retelling. Can you tell I like a retelling? Everyone who's been around here a while knows this about me, and it's obvious by the things coming in on this book haul that I wanted to restock my retelling shelves, and I have done so. I have done that. There are even more that we will find. I think this is, I want to say Rumpelstiltskin, but I could be wrong. Don't take me on that. That's not true. It's the Goose Girl. Never mind. I'm wrong. It's the Goose Girl. And I even might be wrong with that. Anyway, it's a retelling. I should just maybe double check myself, but I'm pretty sure it's the Goose Girl. Pretty sure. Anyway, it's a retelling. It is the Goose Girl. It's right on the back. I love that I'm just going with it. I had another Rumpelstiltskin. My brain is getting them all mixed up. T. Kingfisher, I have really found a love for T. Kingfisher since reading Sword Heart, and I'm really excited to read more of T. Kingfisher's backlist. This is not a backlist book. This is the newest release, but more of T. Kingfisher throughout the second half of the year. I have actually quite a lot of plans to pick up multiple T. Kingfisher books. The Blood Carver by Vanessa Lee, I had not heard of when I saw this, but come on, look at it. It's gorgeous and it was used. Like, why would I not get this book used? It's an Al Craig Jr. book, I believe. I believe that's where this came from, this beautiful edition. And it has blood magic, which I have enjoyed books with blood magic before when I read Ink Blood Sister Scribe. So that was enough. Beautiful book, cheap, gorgeous copy, good condition, blood magic, mine. Vita Nostra is a dark academia book that has been, again, on my sites for quite some time. Danny from Danny Dabbles read this, really enjoyed it, and kind of said to me, you need to read this book. And that was a long time ago. I did listen. I took note. I put it on my Goodreads TBR. I was going to read it and I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I did listen, just delayed. I also think this might have some horror elements. It's fantasy. They call it a dark fantasy, so it might be a little bit horrific in its vibe. But with dark academia, that tends to still work for me a lot of the time, and I trust it. I trust it. I trust Danny, and we'll see. Again, adding to my romance collection because I have wanted to pick up some romances that I can quickly read as palate cleansers between some of these really chunky fantasies is Business or Pleasure by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is a ghostwriter and an actor, and the ghostwriter is Chandler and the actor is Finn. And Finn is going to be writing his memoir and needs a ghostwriter to do that, and a romance ensues. The Dry by Jane Harper is a book that I know Leandra read for one of our Can I Trust last year, and Leandra really loved it and recommended it. And I believe the Can I Trust was Nicole, so also Nicole recommended it. So both of them have recommended this book to me, and I think this is climate fiction, which I do love science fiction with a cli-fi situation. Leandra is actually the reason I started to read cli-fi last year. It was one of the prompts on the TBR-a-thon board was to read a climate fiction. I was like, okay. And I discovered that that was a subgenre of sci-fi that I really enjoyed. So again, when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's a book that a few of my friends have really liked. Maybe I should grab that while it's used, and not too bad on the pocketbook to add to the TBR. The last book I got used on Indie Bookstore Day, because I did buy some like full priced ones that are over there, is Shadow Glass, The Shadow in the Glass. And this is a Cinderella, Gothic Cinderella retelling, gorgeous cover. I had never heard of it, but I was sold just off that little tidbit of information. Now, even though that's the end of the Indie Bookstore Day used books, I do have two others from when I went to a silent reading party a little while back. I ended up grabbing two used books while I was there. The first one being The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. This is another book that multiple of my friends have loved, Leandra being one of them, and Julie also really likes this. I'm sure there are others, but those are the first two that come to mind. This is a retelling of Jane Austen. Which one? I don't know. I don't know which one. Anyway, it's a retelling of one of Jane Austen's books, but from like a murder mystery. It is the start of a series, and I do believe each one is like a different retelling of one of Jane Austen's books. The last used book I got is The Gilded Ones, and this one I think is going to be a really complex fantasy story. I think there's going to be a lot of commentary in here, and I am here for it. And I do believe that there is a feminist narrative as a part of that commentary. I don't think it's the only bit, but I do think it's quite a large part due to the back of this book that says, are we girls or are we demons? Are we going to die or are we going to survive? And I know that it follows Dika, who has to do like this blood ceremony. And when they cut her, her blood runs gold, which in this society is not what you want. It now means she's going to face a consequence worse than death. So there's some high stakes going on in this book. And I've heard really great things about this one as well. So on the TBR goes. The rest of these books I did pay full price for, but the next three kind of, sort of not, but yes, I did. I bought them at HomeSense. HomeSense tends to have books significantly marked down. I think they get like overstock from publishers, similar to like how Book Outlet gets their books. And I think that's where they get their books. Anyway, they're marked down. They're not that expensive. And I have 2 romances and a mystery thriller that I ended up getting the last time I was at HomeSense. And the first one is Mr. Fixer-Upper by Lucy Score. I read the sequel to this, The Christmas Fix. It's right there. At Christmas time. That's the second book in this series. It follows the sister of the main character in this book. It's a brother-sister team that are like extreme home makeover. That's what they do. They have a TV show where they come in, they find a family that deserves a new home, needs a new home, and they build them a new home. He builds, she decorates. We follow the sister's romance in the second book. We follow the brother's romance in this one. I believe his romance is with a producer. The reason I know that is because obviously they're together in this book. So like I know the characters and I know them together, but I'm okay to go backwards with contemporary romance. I mean, it doesn't really spoil it knowing who gets together because like, I mean, that's very obvious in contemporary romances. It's definitely something I really enjoyed. I liked the extreme home makeover part of this, and I believe we follow the TV show in this one as well. I have never tried a Julie Soto book, which I think is insane because I think a lot of people really like Julie Soto. So when I saw Not Another Love Song, I figured, you know what? It was, I don't even know what price it was because I don't have the sticker on it any longer. I took it off, but it was very cheap. And I thought, you know what? This is a good time to try it. This is a good time to give Julie Soto a try. We have a violinist and a cello/rock starist, celloist, rock star celloist. They're rivals. They're competing. And they fall in love. My last purchase from HomeSense was the reappearance of Rachel Price, which is by Holly Jackson. I just recently finished the trilogy, The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I wasn't sure if I was going to love the last one because I've heard bad reviews, but I really did like it. And I really just like Holly Jackson's writing. So, you know, here we go. We're gonna read the next one. It's not in the series, but it's similar vibes of the way of investigation. And obviously the story is told in the same style. It's by the same author. Instead of following someone with a true crime podcast, we're following them making a true crime documentary about the disappearance of Rachel Price. Again, it seems similar in style, obviously, to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, where we're following someone creating a show or not a show, a school project, and then creates a podcast from it based around someone who's gone missing. Very, very similar. Okay, this stack is high. It's the biggest stack, but we're going to get through it quite quickly because they're pretty quick books to talk about. I say that now. We'll see how we go. These are all from new bookstores, Indie or Indigo, depending on which one you're looking at. The first 2 are from my Indie Bookstore Day crawl, and that is Circe. This is Greek mythology retelling, same author as Song of Achilles, which I adored, gave 5 stars, had a good book cry over, excited to read another book by this author and read more Greek mythology retellings. I really do love a Greek mythology story, so yeah. Another retelling that I have is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chang. This is a Mulan retelling that I also got that day. Again, I bought a lot of retellings lately. Okay, the rest are just pre-orders, week moments, series continuations, hype books that I wanted, and here we go. Let's just start there. I have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This is the first book, but it's not because Goodreads and the author says you do not have to read them in order to read this for One Golden Summer, which I'm reading next month for B&K. I picked it up in the idea that I would read it first because a lot of people were like, oh yeah, you should read it first, but like you don't have to. And I have decided not to just because I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time going into the Amazing Readathon. I thought I would be able to get to it in May. I'm not. And I don't think I'm going to get to it in early June. I may change my mind. I may change it back, but I don't think I am going to. I think I'm just going to read One Golden Summer and then go back. Similar to what I did with like The Fixer Upper. I don't necessarily always read contemporary romance in order. It's fine. And also, again, I don't think these are actually listed as even a part of a series. Like there are standalones in the same universe where you're like, one of the friends from this book follows their romance in the other. Anyway, here we go. First Time Caller by B.K. Borson. I wanted to get to this many, many moons ago, and I still haven't because I actually had a really hard time getting a copy of this book. There was a good portion of time where Indigo was sold out, my indies were sold out, Amazon was sold out, which I don't really even like to get books from Amazon, but I was like trying to find it. There was some reason like Canada or my part of Canada could not get this book. So I finally have it. B.K. Borson, I've read the entire Love Light Farm series. I gave 3 of them out of 4, 5 stars. And this is a Sleepless in Seattle retelling, which I just recently rewatched with Rainey, Neva, and Kelsey. We did like a little movie night and rewatched this. So I would like to get to this sooner rather than later since I just rewatched the inspiration for this book. Heartless Hunter. Heartless Hunter. This book, people keep telling me this is a Britney fantasy romance. Is it? We will find out together. If I like the first book, I will probably just binge the duology. Lately, I've been doing that where I'm like, okay, let's just kind of read the series all together so I don't forget about the subsequent books. And since this is a finished duology, just makes sense to do that. But I did not get the second book without knowing I liked the first. That's an amateur mistake. It's a mistake I make often. But in this case, I didn't make that mistake. I'm going to find out if I like the series first, and then I can quickly go grab Rebel Witch if I so choose. This is an enemies to lovers romance where a witch falls in love with a witch hunter. That sounds quite dramatic. The Forest King's Daughter. This was a weak moment. This was a weak moment in Indigo. I'm still very glad to own this, but this was a book that I had never heard of, but I saw this cover, Magical Forest. Does this not scream Britney just from looking at it? Like, you will understand how this came into my possession, but it was one of those ones where like I didn't have any reason to purchase it. It just kind of happened. And because it is a book that just kind of happened, I don't know that much about it other than Magical Forest. We love this. And it also says childhood friends, mortal enemies, forbidden lovers. So it is like a fantasy romance that is set in a magical forest. The Charmer by Ava Rani is here. It's here. It's in my clutches. I own it. It's right here. I have it. I read the first 2 books in this series, start of the year, January, February, 5 stars, 4.5. Obsessed with this series, have been waiting for this pre-order to arrive. It has arrived, and I just got the audiobook like 2 days ago. So I need to find time to read this book. This is happening in June. I don't know what prompt I'm going to use it for, but this is happening in June. This is going to be read during the Amazing Readathon. I must read Xander's Romance. The first book in this series is like 2 friends and 2 friends and their siblings. So there's like Sloane, who is the spare to this like pharmaceutical empire, and her brother, oh no, Henry. Oh, that just left my mind and came right back. And then 2 other brothers, Marcus, who is Henry's best friend, and Xander, who is Sloane's best friend. Sloane and Marcus have always kind of had a feel for each other. They've always kind of flirted with each other. So they get together in the first book. Henry gets a romance in book 2, and this one's going to be Xander's romance. Xander is my favorite character from this friend familial group. And this is a much, much anticipated release. This is a 5-star. This is going to be 5 stars. We're putting it into the universe. You can only see half of the mess that is on the shelves behind me. It is just stacks of books just shoved on this shelf. And I'm going to have to put this away when this is over and actually find room for these, because these have never been on the bookshelves. These have just been in a pile to haul for you. And I need to find room for these on my shelves, and I'm a little bit nervous about how that's going to go. A little bit nervous about that, but we're going to get it done. The next book is another pre-order, Frederick Bachman's My Friends. This is going to be a B&K Book Club book. You would have already seen that announcement video by the time I'm putting this one out. And this is, I believe, July's book? August, July? Editing me will put it in. Anyway, this is an auto by author. I love Frederick Bachman. Kelsey and I both love Frederick Bachman. And I love Frederick Bachman not because I read a lot of contemporary fiction, but the character work in Frederick Bachman just pulls me in. The writing style just pulls me in. I actually ended up getting a signed edition from my local indie. They promoted that they had signed editions, and I was like, mine. Frederick Bachman is a favorite author of mine. There's still a couple of Frederick Bachmans I haven't read, but I've read a good portion, and I'm really anticipating this also being a 5-star read. The next 3 books are on my TBR because of my lovely co-host for the Amazing Readathon, Cassidy. Cassidy read these 3 books back to back, gave them all 5 stars, or I believe they were back to back, felt that way. She may have read other things in between, but I think they were back to back, and gave them all 5 stars. And I went, well, I need those. I need to be a part of this moment in book history. One being The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson. Look at this edition of this. I actually hadn't seen this edition until I went into Indigo to pick this up. And I think this is like the Canadian copy. I don't even know. I hadn't seen it online anywhere. I had seen a lot of the Fairy Loot editions. So I was really kind of like surprised when I saw this printed hardback, because it's not a dust jacket. It's like printed right onto the hardback. So mine. Magic and adventure swirl as a young woman reignites the embers of an ancient philosophy, unleashing a storm that could save her realm or doom them all. I know nothing else, and I don't really want to know. I just kind of want to like go into it kind of blind, just knowing that like so many people are loving this book. Silver Elite. I need to know what this is all about. I need to know. There is so much back and forth about this online, but I need to know. And I got the silver sprayed edge, because perfect sprayed edge for this. Honestly, silver, I'm here for it. Will I like this? Honestly, I don't know. I've heard it's quite going to be based off vibes, but I heard that after I bought it. Had I heard that before? No, I probably still would have got it. I probably still would have got it because, again, I trust Cassidy. I trust Cassidy's opinion. And also, there's a few of my patrons who have read this and really like this. So I will come to my own opinion when I read this, but I'm excited to read it. And I'm excited to see what's going on. I'm excited to have my own opinion of this and to see what all the talk is about. And you must know that if I got those 2, I definitely got Shield of Sparrows. Because, come on, how do you not get this book? It is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Also, at this point, I am just here. I think I have every Red Tower book ever purchased or made, I should say. I haven't hauled some, so I don't physically own them, but I think I've purchased almost every Red Tower book that has ever come out, because as much as not all of them are wins on the inside, you can judge a book by its cover if you want to. Like, whoo, these books, they're so gorgeous. And I have had some wins with Red Tower. I mean, I liked my reread of Fourth Wing. That was a Red Tower book. My most recent Red Tower book that I read was The Neverlist, and that was fantastic. So Red Tower and I, we've had some hits, we've had some misses, and I've been hearing online that this is going to be a win. Do I know anything about this? No. Have I read Devney Perry's romances? No. So this is going to be my first Devney Perry book. Will this inspire me to go read the romances? Probably. Okay, we're at the final 2 books. We're at the end because we're going to talk about these together. I recently read Spark of the Everflame. I gave it 5 stars, and I must continue this series. So I bought the 2nd and the 3rd books. They get significantly chunkier as you go along, but I can see why. I can see that after reading the first one, there is a lot that we need to cover, and we're going to need the space to do that. So I get why these are significantly longer. I really hope to continue to love this series as much as I loved the first one. And then I will be waiting for book 4. So I want to get caught up before book 4 comes out. I will probably read these sooner rather than later because I just read book 1 and it's like, it's in my mind and it's fresh. I feel like that's a good time to read 2 and 3. Whew, that took a while. I don't know how long I've been filming, but it's taken a minute. Obviously, I will edit this down. I don't know how long this video will be, but thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for watching and being here for this very, very large book haul. But again, a lot of these were from bookish events in my local community. And I also really want to support my local book community because if people don't go support these events, they won't hold them. And I will be sad if they stop holding these events. I need to support them and support the bookish community that I am so blessed to have. If you made it all the way to the end of this video but have nothing to say to me down in the comments, leave me a green emoji for the charmer because honestly, it's right on the top of the stack, so it's easiest for me to see. But it is also probably going to be the first book from this book haul that I read. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.